how's your own experience to join this show? Your feeling to have a show in New York and with 3 Korean women artists, with Korean woman curator.
At first, I'm so happy we have a curator. So, and then also because the artists have to deal lots of things, but the even we have to deal the curator's job, like writing the or the articles or those things. But Soojung 선생님 did that, so I'm so happy with that. So we always see each other's artwork, but not in real, in person, and even not in one show. So it's really good.
I think as alumni of the Art Foundation, you have met through the alumni meeting, but you all live the different locations, could not be easy to meet in person. Through this exhibition, we are all work together and finally made a beautiful show. I really appreciate this show, the installation or painting or other things. It came out more than I expected. So all your effort make the beautiful show.
I think this meaningful collaboration was meaningful, and besides the everyone's caliber, that I've been respecting everyone's the visual strength and also the storytelling through the visually striking compositions. But not only that, having deal with someone like bouncing off the idea and collaborating with the respect made it whole experience really special. So that part, besides being, I'm not necessarily friend with all the Korean people anyway. So like being Korean all together is a great start, but like also meeting respectful people is not easy, especially in the art field. For me, that is having that humble and also very virtuous and respectful attitude of everyone made this show even more special on top of everyone like that I'm respecting, be able to collaborate together, which is special opportunity. So I appreciate that everyone to be like no matter how it happened. I really excited about today's talk and hear about everyone's short presentation about how the story came about, and maybe we can also another juncture together as a sprouting from here to another sprinting point, because I believe this is kind of beginning.
Yes, departure.
Not
arrival yet.
This is kind of it's a departure, conjunction to go ahead, another opportunity. So I have known many artists, the Korean American artists or other national backgrounds, but this is very special. The Jian, you mentioned about the whole process to make this show. So develop the concept of the show. The beginning time just brought the framework, diaspora. But it's how we can present the theme through each artist pieces. So we can have more the digging the idea, what is the diaspora, what we can present through our own each field. So that is something interesting for me. We finally catch the theme, the obsession, trauma, good luck. And so we make this unique title. Also, first time we said that we can make some correspond pieces that for different locations, and then we communicate, and then we can make correspond pieces. But unfortunately, time is too short to prepare this show. We couldn't do that. Anyway, so. Without any tension, we are naturally coming out. We talk about this show. This is the April 19th, Sunday in New York at the gallery. PS122 is East Village side. Very local cultural place. but this building is the more cultural community center, not only artist, performer. So after the opening, I had a chance to visit the gallery several times. So one of the audience from Boston to visit her sister, and they really enjoyed it. So like the simple things unexpectedly happened at the gallery. It was nice. Simply, I like to share the concept of the show. Already you recognize that. The obsession, trauma, gulag is not totally separated. These kinds of the coexist and also overlap in your in your pieces. So also that is the when I look at the people, especially artists, they have the kinds of the characters. So somehow they make like these things without obsession, how they could do this, something like that. Anyway, the obsession, but that is normal way to understand, but it's in this show, connect this diaspora. So obsession is about how we keep the returning to memory that is our past, our language, and our sense of origin. The trauma is shaped not only historical or social conditions, but also exist as a deeper inner sorrow in everyday life. I thought about this, so when I looked at each artist, I could connect that feeling. And gulag, actually the term, the Tewa, she brought that during our dialogue. But it's not simple optimism. It reflects a quiet and resilience, connected with hope. So the belief is something meaningful or positive can be emerging on certain our life. So now I'm going to introduce three artists, and then you can talk more insight for your art pieces to the Zoom audience. Okay, so let's start Tewa first, and then let's make Tewa and Jiyeon and Juyeon and three artists, and then I like to make a small questions, and then you can talk together.
So, do I have to share, right? My name is Taewa Go. My work transforms hand footprints into sculptural installations through layering, cutting, and assembling paper and fabric. I expand the traditional printmaking into three-dimensional space where repetition becomes a way of building form. So my print became the structure, and structures became, expanded to the space. And repetition of printing became the construction of the material, and then it became the installation. So first I made many prints. So that's very important thing because I need a lot of addition to making something three-dimensional. So more print and many more prints. And after, I made the 30 or, 40 editions for one sculptural piece. And then I started gluing them together. So this is the video, short video for that. And after I glue them together, and then I start cutting all together, and then open it, and then it became the three-dimensional sculptural piece.
Oh my God.
And in my practice, I am often inspired by biological forms and landscapes. Within the simple shapes of plants, I see traces of the conditions they have grown in, such as soil, climate, and environments. I am interested in not only in these visual traces, but also in the emotions, memories that arise through my own perception. In a way, my process becomes a dialogue with nature, a kind of resonance between the external world and my inner experience. So in my recent work, Good Luck Babe, I focused on familiar plants, clovers, garden flowers, and weeds. These are simple form, but they quietly exist all around us. I combine them with found objects such as tubes, pipes, and garden stocks to suggest the connection between the natural and constructed worlds. The installation becomes an ecological landscape where tensions exist, the real and unreal, natural and artificial, familiar and unfamiliar. So on the floor, 4-leaf clovers are hidden among 3-leaf clovers as a small wish that luck might exist with everyday life. On the wall, this idea reversed. So 3-leaf clovers appear within 4-leaf clovers, suggesting that everyday life can also exist within moments of luck. So this work began from a personal place. I wanted to send a message of luck to my younger daughter at an important moment of her life. So that's the starting point. And at the same time, I hope the viewers also record their own memories, like making flower rings with, the clover flowers, or searching for a 4-leaf clover. In this exhibition, Obsession, Trauma, Good Luck, these ideas expand further. Everyday plants become symbolic forms that reflect the diasporic experience, where obsession, trauma, and luck are deeply intertwined. Different layers come together. So, unfamiliar landscape of foreign country, or, where I am living, the New Jersey. My father's traditional paintings, childhood imagination, and recurring memories of rupture. Those different layers come together for this piece. And through this, I think about how resilience is formed. Not despite fragmentation, but through it, and how moments of renewal and shared empathy can begin from something as simple as clover. And next piece, this is the different view, different display of similar artwork. And next one is the suspicious growth. This work was made quite some time ago. At that time, my father was very ill, and he eventually passed away. During that period, I began thinking deeply about human body, how we experience it. Suspicious growth is about things that grow or occur within our bodies, but remain invisible to us. I became interested in how sensation accumulate, forming layers within the body, and how those layers shape and transform perceptions. From this, I began creating imagined landscapes formed by sensation and memory. These landscapes are not just images, but space where narrative emerge, like a language where words form sentences and sentences form larger structures. Visual elements come together to building meanings. And like one word calling the next, these works form intuitive landscapes guided by feeling rather than logic. So this is the closer view. And this one is from the bottom of my heart. It was made in 2025. And while many of my works use silk screen, this piece is created using woodcut. I carved a heart-shaped wood block, printed from it, and transformed this print into three-dimensional form. The original wood block itself becomes the base of the piece. So the process and the object are directly connected. This form suggests something hidden deep inside, such as dreams, imagination, wishes, and quiet hopes. And if you turn the small valve on the piece, you may feel as if those thoughts inside you are gradually expanding, growing larger and lighter, and eventually floating up into the air. And this work is titled 상상 Home, Happy Home. And this one is a 상상 Home, Lucky Home. 상상 means the imagine in Korean. So it is a good example of how I combine found object with the three-dimensional printmaking. So the green pegboard presents my garden and the brown structure represents my house. Within this space, I construct a narrative of unfamiliar intrusions, escape, and at the same time, desire for being happy and for being lucky. These ideas are expressed through elements such as the orange forms, the ladder, and the clovers, both the 3-leaf and 4-leaf. So this one is 4-leaf and this one is 3-leaf.
Two pieces.
Yeah. The small colorful forms on the pegboard represent tiny plants growing in my garden. They can be removed and placed back again, almost like a game. This reminds me of childhood activity and allows the audience to participate in the work as if they are planting flowers in the garden. In this way, the piece becomes not only a narrative space, but also a shared space where imagination, memory, and interaction come together. So thank you so much. That's it. But if you want to see more artwork of mine, I will quickly turn slides like that.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is the cactus.
First, this is the basic, started the printmaking and then extend the three-dimensional sculpture or installation. It's very interesting, unique way to extend your idea. And now we are going to talk next to artist, this is Jian.
Sharing and presentation. I could prepare the whole process, but I am going to focus what's in display at the show. There are 3 series of work on display on my side of work. So I would like to walk you through. If you never seen my work, yep. Are you guys seeing okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So I have a major characters in my work of peers that called Waterman that was born when I moved from New York to Utah because of family reasons. Not religious reasons, but when we moved there, that I was very struck by how wide it is there, and also missing how might I fit my place in this really white-looking place. The first impression, I went to Japanese restaurant, everyone's white, and I still Chinese and Korean restaurant had some those people, but it was very striking, very hard to find any other people, like barely see any others colors, and that everyone is not just regular white, they're very blonde white, a lot of people. So I started, and like often people move to out of New York, their agenda is pursuit of better life, pursuit of better place, pursuit of more space. Yes, we got a little more space, but how might I fit in? For me, it's like finding a journey to community became a big task as I'm feeling very isolated about being a Asian or woman. And there's also as a parent, how might I navigate? So as I'm unpacking, almost not unpacking in my little studio space, I start imposing my question, how might I adjust here? And then I start drawing this character with a vulnerable body that is almost exposed, but strong looking, that is almost like animating by using a bold brush strokes, and put the water as a face and the almost torso of the body to reflect my desire to be changing, but also not resisting. Like, so whole story and the background has become, I start adapting background as a Utah's aspiring background, such as hiking, mowing the lawn, like nice houses that I've seen we couldn't purchase, or like driving that I was really fear of driving. All those banal life for like the regular American life in the outside of New York or super big cities has become challenge. And for me, wanted to reflect how might I struggle to the more honest portrait through the Waterman series. Me, myself, as a little bit of amorphous, or I kind of want to blur what gender or what race I am. Like, I just wanted to represent, hey, struggle at the adaptation, and the background is traced as a really thin line to reflect the hard to grab reality that could almost fade away if you don't focus to tracing those lines with your eyes. So that's how Waterman series was born, but I'm showing in this show the Falling series and the Loading series. So Falling series is mainly about, it's a kind of continuation of the initial Waterman work, but now kind of added color. I'm not sure any of you guys seen the Pleasantville, the movie. So Pleasantville was starting with a black and white movie. And then when the characters start seeing love start feeling emotionally connected with a character within, some point the movie turned to colorful. And for me, like, our Waterman series started with a black and white because I need to see things very clearly and objectively, that I'm depicting where I am and what I am becoming, like, or what I was, and try to introduce myself. And this is in as much as still I'm showing the process of failing but trying, like such as showing against the Utah's beautiful but eerie background of the aspen trees, that eyes look like Utah's eyes, like, how are you? Like, where are you from? Are you married? You have a kids? Like, kind of those kind of cheery welcome that might look very suspicious. I don't clearly know their intention, but that kind of set me as a very like attractive, eerie eyes that watching over me. So I'm kind of obsessed with the aspen trees. So I'm putting those background and characters and start introducing colors as I'm still falling, but I'm start seeing emotionally connected to the background. And the few of them with that is introduced, that I'm still nicely falling and really in turmoil within me, but the background is still in harmony and almost like neon, like a dance. And Loading is kind of after phase. I try to enlighten and step out of my fear of the just only adapting, but maybe facing towards the screen instead of avoiding and falling, but also face the challenge I wanted to move forward to it. So those colorful works are selected as a part of the Waterman, the Falling and Loading series. But I do really new work that I have introduced only for this show is a Modern Temptation series. There are 3 works, 1, 2, and 3. Those Modern Temptation is a starting point consists of 2 major parts. So first of all, this is a Korean scroll called Jokja, and in English, like everyone knows, this is like Asian scrolls. And this is supposed to roll and carry the calligraphy or the ink paintings at home. And I've been really wanting to do something about it. I was always more like a Western painter, and retrospectively looking at myself where I'm coming from, in as much as I accept, and there are a lot of love-hate relationship of where I'm coming from. And I fell in love with the Jokja, and I bought it and kept it at home for a while. And I wanted to do something with it because it feel like I'm representing something. And at that time, I start to struggling with this image of the body, which this syringe is supposed to deliver, and the idea of the justice. So this fallen justice scales shows this political changes, like what is right or wrong, or which side is very getting ambiguous. And the idea of the American through the passport, that you can see what is being American, what is good American, are we American as I'm getting a citizenship? It has been really confusing and blurry that as I'm navigating modern world. I'm putting those objects very directly to express those feelings with the changing characters. But what I really also focus is the frame part, that upper and lower part that is actually not working. It's like this deconstructed scroll that is not working as a scroll well, but wanted to carve out the water part. So negative space is showing kind of way, but it's the suspended parts will be moving as people walk by, and cost a little bit of air, and it'll show the distorted wave that's revealed with the negative space and showing with the shimmering pattern of the original scroll that I had. So I wanted to have that all together in a sense as a whole body of works, not the Jokja itself is working as a frame, but also all together as a one thing. So with that current world that we are navigating as a contemporary people, that what kind of ideas we are struggling and navigating with are those main part that I wanted to explore with Modern Temptation, those 3 series. I didn't see the time, so I'll go a little quicker. So the last part is responding. Responding is quite simple relatively, because I made 4 drawings after I observed everyone's work, and I kind of made it in New York, all of them. And also that is showing the responding everyone's beautiful work and the space, but also responding my current job market, figuring out the hardships, but also I watch in that line, I watched the recently No Other Choices by Park Chan-wook's movie. And the whole idea of the AI and navigating the current crazy world and be able to respond as a collected forces without collapsing was the motivation of those series. So it was more like intuitive and gut the driven drawings I made. But I just wanted to put the time and place and No Other Choices movie into this 4 drawings. So that was it. And the Waterman continued to express where I am and how I'm becoming, how I'm navigating, not only as myself, but also representing, in a sense, everyone's struggle in the contemporary time with the similar crazy challenges that everyone facing now. In as much as the world has become more personal with the personalized algorithm that you are only seeing being fed and echoed by what you like, what you think you like, but also how might we see ourselves within that to alive and be ourselves. Thank you.
Great. So Jian's work is a very stunning color, detailed drawing. So this is the kind of what is the digital print, digital painting. So but anyway, my interesting part, you have some kinds of the media supporting art. Some other side you made also accept the traditional hanging the scroll format, and that is something you have 2 different collections. Okay, now, so our last artist to Chuyeon.
And okay, this can you guys see my?
Yes.
Yeah, but then I won't be able to see. Now I don't see my notes, so okay, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, so we can't delay anymore. So for this installation for the show PS122 Gallery here, I installed these paper cutouts, and these are big and small. You can find big and small, various sizes. It's a paper cutout. So I cut out the images on white paper, and then I coat it with the red acrylic paints, and then on top I put various glossy matte medium on top. So these cutouts were first created in 2023 to celebrate my 20th years of immigration in the US. Okay, here. Okay, that's here. So I am very interested in the landscape, like Tehwa mentions, and also Jian's also how she struggle and readjust herself into the new environment. Same things me also. I'm very much interested in the landscape as a site of in-betweenness, where histories and memories and identities converge to open new possibility for reflection. So my studio practice both visual and curatorial, and deeply personal, yet inherently collective. So seeking to translate our lived experience into visual form through gestures and images and materials. And the iconographies you see at the gallery came from the 25 years that I spent growing up in South Korea, and also the almost 20 years or 23 years I have lived as an immigrant in the US. So you can find characters from Japanese cartoon books that I loved so much in my teenage years, and Korean elementary, also characters from Korean elementary textbooks from 1970s and 1980s, and also typography and signs from the Stop Asian Hate protest during our recent pandemic. So you can find also I include my kids' drawings because this is my celebration, 20 years of celebrations as an immigrant, and also as a mom, also as a teacher, Asian woman. But I include my kids' drawings because in the past I hide being a mom or motherhood because it looked unprofessional. So I intentionally hide it, but this time, oh, let's celebrate motherhood as well. So I include my kids' drawing as well. Whenever I visit Korea, when I stood on this street in Seoul, Korea, waiting for my friend who lived in this neighborhood, I noticed my country's history at a glance. So the first architecture is a traditional Korean house built in Joseon Dynasty about 1800. And then the second architecture you see is a Japanese style house we call Jeoksangaok. It's a remnant of Japanese colonial era. And then third building on the far back, it shows the modern apartments built during the military dictatorship in the 1970s. So we had this childhood memories living in this types of apartments. And when I discover the landscape where complicated Korean history tangled in our daily life, so my questions all the time was about, is it possible me to create a landscape work without thinking of any colonial history or scar or mixed emotion, remaining firmly embedded into our collective identity? So my personal experiences in this landscape or place or landscape are no longer personal. They are collective and political. Along with this large installation, I also showed these two lucky pig as a diptych in the show. The idea was from these Buddhist paper amulet that my father sent over 2 decades to wish me good luck, almost every year. And then he sent the notes like, this amulet preventing your husband cheating, or this amulet prevent fire in your house. So he always make a note, and then he sent these amulets almost every year. But this particular lucky pig amulet was one of the first amulet my father gave at the airport when I left Korea almost 23 years ago. When he know my father is not very kind person. He's very typical Korean conservative man, and he gave this to me and said, "You take this because you are not smart enough to survive, so you need extra luck." So he gave this, and then at that time I was kind of upset, and is this really the best way you send your daughter to send off your daughter who is heading for a new opportunity or new journey? So at that time I was upset, and then I tried to forget about this episode or this story. But after 23 years, I should celebrate that moment as well, because my view has been changed, and then I know this is his way of expressing love. So I recreated this series. And then these two diptych, I made it one for me, but the symbolic iconography as a symbol I replaced with my own lucky charm. So you can find some Japanese manga characters, Astro Boys, which was my favorite characters, believes that that's my lucky charm. So I replaced with my own, banana milk was also my favorite item. Whenever, during the test week in my teenage time, I always drink it during the testing week. So those. And then these are some extra installation view. So you can go over and see some installation view, because we only had a limited time, so I was not able to show all of the other works, but these are the major one. These are zoom in, you can see some very glossy surface, some are very textural and matte surface. I think that's it. Thank you.
Great. So we, the three artists, we are all from Korea, and they moved to United States and developed their career in artists and professionals. So the experiences, we are all different own experience, but through our sharing, we can understand how, we can have our own sides, and then how that part is open to the social understanding. So it's great. So I can make questions, but I like to make open to this conversation to our audience.
I'll say something on behalf of the gallery real quick. Hi, PS122 Gallery speaking. Thank you so much for accepting our open call and applying. This was the perfect springtime April show. We've had classes from Australia come in to see it, actually first thing, which was very, very cool. They received it very, very well. The guest at our opening received it very well, and we've had a good amount of off the street guests come in as well, who all wonderfully, wonderfully loved it. So everyone has spoken very, very highly of this show. They're very, very excited to know that you're all from Korea originally, now reside here. What else? What else is there? That's really about it. It's just going so well. So you should all be very, very proud, and we're very, very glad you accepted the opportunity. So thank you.
Yeah, we all appreciate you have a chance to have a show here with the three artists. So so as I said at the beginning, through our conversation, we developed the idea for this show, and artists, when they brought their artwork at the gallery, and I was very impressed with what they prepared. And just before that, when we made the Zoom meeting, I could see their images on the screen. On the screen, some part it was not clear what the material, what they are going to present exactly. There are many other pieces, so we selected some of the pieces for the show. But the presentation is much better than I expected. So I appreciate we have together to complete this show. Anything else? So my curious part, each artist. After this show, do you have any other plan or develop your idea? So, to make the show, artists, they have a chance to their work more objective point of view, or have a chance to listen to other audience reaction about your work. So my question, so after this show, you can have any idea, develop your this recent work to other direction. So
For me, I'm really interested in creating more space for audience participate. So, the pegboard piece, the viewer can physically move and rearrange elements. So I'd like to expand that kind of interaction further. So maybe some kinetic element also, they can turn something and then something move, something kind of like that. That's what I want to explore more. And then material-wise, I want to move more deeply into textile. So I want to incorporate something quilting, embroidery, and fabric. Because the three-dimensional things, recently I'm using many fabrics. So I want to combine some more fabric and embroidery things together. And conceptually, I want to continue reinterpreting the everyday plants and objects. Like last year I made it a green onion using my visual language. So something like that. So and those things I want to explore more.
Yeah, when I looked at your work, I had the same feeling. Maybe if we have the participants audience can join some part of the your work, it's like children's, they could be enjoy something. I felt the same way. Yeah. And how about Jian?
I would usually, my work is very, even though it look like, cause ink painting, like I used to learn like Eastern paintings, and I also I didn't get to explain, but I'm coming from animation and games and background, as I also did an all traditional painting since I was young. So I often more mixing like a Western style or somewhat mimicking, it could be Marvel comics or it could be Eastern paintings. But I like to be more hybrid, but maybe somewhat starting to reflect myself as a heritage-wise. So for me, using the scroll in this body of work was very challenging because I fear to use the traditional material because I set myself to I'm not that kind of person. So in as much as you learn all the history of the art, all the material is available, but making employed that's a part of your work, I think that's very different process. So I was very excited to do it. It was a little first one, so there's some mistake to that. So, but I like to push the envelope to myself uncomfortable to see if I can give a birth to something more weird and interesting. And that in that sense, I continue for the concept wise, so that is a material wise, I want to see if I probably want to do more painting and see if unexpected things to be popping up. I try myself let loose, so I'll be okay to accepting the feared changes on my work as well. as much as myself changing. And the concept-wise, my work is always about people. I always crave to understand people's essence and what makes people, what is the makeup of me and you, like, and the idea of in order to understand myself, I always have to look at the mirror. I always see the either reflection of me that exists at 0.1 second before, or I have to ask someone to explain who I am, or the people around me will make up of who I am. So as community. So I love the idea of like investigating people through others, through the conversation, and somewhat that is melted into the work is something just I have a vague task that I have it ongoing and go it forever. So that next work could include waterman or water of something, or it could be entirely different things. But with that challenge I had with the scroll, I'm very excited to land it on this like experimental landing, and I'm excited to continue to reflect the fear and the change and the careful optimism that I want to reflect on my works from the onwards.
Interesting, your psychological, understanding of the human senses, so emotions. So the Juyeon's work is much comment about the social context. So I'm curious about because previously you made the Gyopo series or others some social commentary. And
Yes, I
the
do.
next step.
I think a lot of different series it's based on the project, like very project based. It's rather than or the consistency of my studio practice. I do very different, totally different medium, totally different approach and ideas, concept. So each project has totally different materials and gestures and images. And for this red cutout series, I want to add it more, develop further by adding more imageries from propaganda poster, because that's how I because the propaganda poster competition, I was good at it, and then I got a word, and then that makes me dreaming of becoming an artist, which is totally wrong idea what artist does and means, but at that time it felt so natural. So that's why I'm gonna add in more propaganda images or iconographies from propaganda poster, all these posters. But besides that project, I really want to create a new painting series about landscape. So next year, next academic year, I will be in Korea for the Fulbright scholarship, so that my proposal for the proposal for the Fulbright scholarship was to access JSA and DMZ area between North and South Korea. So hope that as a U.S. citizen, because as a Korean citizen, we was not able to access the west sector of DMZ and JSA because it controlled by UN. So after I naturalized it in 2023, I am now eligible to access that border. Like our title for the show, like our theme of the show, I'm interested in this trauma, obsessions, and this good luck, because we had older generations who actually experienced the war. They have this trauma and fear, and then it passed it down to next generation, younger generation. So I always had that fear about enemy, which is unknown, and we know what enemy, but it's really not enemy, it's a people. But I want to access those DMZ area, the nature. So actually I will be able to see that nature, so I can make a new painting series. But also it's a landscape painting. It's the same theme but different approach to articulate and navigate the landscape idea. So I'm excited about that new project, but hope that, for this collaboration, hope that we can make another opportunity to have another collaboration together, for any exhibitions or any venues, alternative venues could be possible. So I'm excited about our next collaboration.
Thank you
You're welcome.
so much. You make our conclusion so artistic. Thank you for joining the audience.
Can
Any-
can I talk something? Yeah. I feel I did really good job to join this program because I got so much yeah, I really want to express my thanks to for all the artists sharing your background of your thoughts to develop your artwork and curate this. Also, my thanks to curator Soojung for putting all these works together and to show as a public program. And I really learned a lot about the all a lot from all of you behind the stories about the behind the stories of your artworks, and that really powerfully spoke about all the works. So I was really impressed by all the works and the deep meanings behind the works. And this exhibition is about diaspora artists' inner world and the embodiment of their mental and the experience living here. But at some point, I think we humans are everybody is kind of we moved, we migrated somewhere to somewhere, right? So that really resonates with our all humans, not just Korean diaspora artists' work, but it can resonate with everybody. So thank you so much for this program, and I feel really well joined today's program, and I congratulate Zuyon's Fulbright scholarship and her future experience in Korea, and that I'm really looking forward to her future work as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I have a question actually to other artists. When we collaborate, the process is I just throw my image on the wall, and the next day they came and then they added something. So what did you think? How to react to the that image? How you approach it when you make that collaboration piece?
Collaboration one piece.
Oh, that was difficult. I never done it. I never done it. Any
Oh,
intuitive action, I never done it because all my work, I know I can anticipate what's outcome because by organizing everything, step by step, everything. So I'm kind of more logical person than artistic, more intuitive person. So that assignment was really difficult for me. But I knew whenever your this cloth, this objects, and then it's a beautifully constructed, and then I actually wanted to deconstruct some messiness or destroy element, some messiness, right? So it balanced out because her delicacy, refinement, like high craftsmanship, I can put something little less, so it make a successful imbalance composition and also ambiguity, not confusion, but we can create very productive ambiguity. So people curious about, oh, what these are. So it makes a little more ambiguity. But I don't know if it's successful or not, but it's our first collaboration. Hope that we can develop further, make it more or
yeah.
big or exchange, more continuous exchange will make it more interesting dialogue.
Yeah, I really want to add something on that too, and then we really keep going that.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's possible. If we have a
yeah.
more bigger wall and
Mm,
Jian's,
mm,
we suggest Jian, do directly. No, drawing, apply drawing, just draw directly to the wall.
mm.
Soojung, our
Got
creator too.
it.
Yeah.
I find it very contrast that the Jew is very process what is that, logical oriented, and then
Yeah.
the Taehwa is very process oriented. And
Right, right.
I'm like a sponge kind of person. I walk in and start like collect very feeling based, but like try to but then I have to execute with a reason. So that I find that the contrast, even though at the end, the outside, the outcome look like just visually striking combination of the works, but the how we approach and process is different to land that is find it very fun. But for me, I just absorb like a all the visual information like a sponge. And I wanted to, every drawing and every mark, I believe it like kind of have a time and place, and people are always with it, baked into it. So sometimes it could be a joke of some other artist that made it in Korea. I remember it's a Gimbum, and he's like, I think he made a series of paintings. I'm gonna make a really the painting that is carry my emotion, and I'm going to yell as I'm making a stroke of the yellow strokes. And he would say, ah, and make the stroke lines. And the later painting is just strokes of the yellow paints. And I sometimes think about that as a joke, but also it carries somewhat a lot of degrees of truth that what you stroke today, even though it's the same, look like same, but carries the weight of that. You may have a bad breakfast, your family is sick, or you just got awarded by something, that even though those strokes may carry a different emotional feeling. So for me, I absorb you guys' information, and I wanted to see if, hey, I come here, this is information I have, and this is a reflection I see. How might I respond to that and I would have been really gladly just drawing around, like thinking, and maybe inspired by the smells or music or temperature if I were freezing. Like it could have been all the information to be a portrait of that time.
Thank you for making our artist talk. And so thank you, joined this event.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
you. One thing I want to remind you, we have a sticker in the gallery you can buy. So, you can invite for the installation. You can take those, stickers, four of us, right? The four stickers of each artist. So you can make a arrange in your house, in your
Very
place.
affordable.
Yeah, very affordable.
Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.